Do you need a fully comprehensive Pilates certificate to work in the Pilates industry, or can you get away with just reformer? My short answer to this is if you want to work in the Pilates industry, eventually yes. If you want to work in the fitness industry, then it's up to you. You don't really need it. Of course, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Before we get into the bulk of this video, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of those of you that have been watching and subscribing and even messaging me on Instagram. It really helps me to actually make the content that is relevant for you. So today we're going to go through all the different routes into getting a comprehensive certificate. If we haven't met before, hi, my name is Lauren. I am a qualified Pilates instructor working full-time in London, and I've been doing this for many years. And here on YouTube, we're talking about everything beyond the anatomy. There are plenty of channels for that. If you do have specific questions, do feel free to write to me. But my passions lay way more inside of community and the quote-unquote softer skills in the Pilates industry. Let's get straight into it. So do you need your fully comprehensive Pilates certificate? If you want a long career in the Pilates industry, then eventually you are going to need it. If you need to get the full thing straight away, that's another question. So before we go on to talking about specific schools and different routes, the first question I would be asking myself if I were just starting out is, what kind of instructor do I want to be? And the second question would be, where do I want to work? And by this, I mean, do you want to be working more one-on-one with clients in a fully comprehensive studio, or are you more tickled? I don't know why I chose that word. More enthralled? Someone give me a word, please. I don't know what my problem is. As soon as I get onto the camera, I just forget all words. So sometimes I'm like, do I sound a little bit stiff? Anyway, moving on. Do I feel enthralled? Captivated. That's the word. Captivated by the bigger fitness world, working in your bigger studios, bigger gyms that are really just focusing on reformer. If you have unlimited time, unlimited money right now, I don't see why you wouldn't go for the fully comprehensive course. Overall, it's not going to cost you that much more to do it all now than it would to kind of stagger it out. The only thing that might stop you is time. If you're trying to balance this with a full-time job that you want to quit as soon as possible, then maybe you just want to get your mat and reformer done so that you can quit your job and start racking in the hours, which is more likely the scenario that most of us are in, is that we are limited on time. In that case, if you do want to work in your fully comprehensive studios, you want to work one-on-one, you want to work your rehab, your alongside physios, then most likely it's going to be much easier for you to break into that world if you are fully comprehensive. Many studios struggle to find fully comprehensive instructors who actually really want to be doing that. I'll be quite frank, unless you've got loads of experience or get really lucky, there is a lot more money in the sort of greater fitness and wellness space. Some studios will pay you a little bit more because you've got those extra certificates, but most of them won't. And those ones that do pay you a little bit more, it's also paralleled in with having a certain amount of years of experience. And if you're wondering what the pay is, standard starting rate, whether it's reformer or fully comp, is around £35 per hour. And the reason it's not different despite the amount of extra time you put into the qualification is because the sort of studios that are offering it one-on-one, and there is far less profit in one-on-one. Just think about it. If you've got one person paying £100 an hour for the entire studio, or even 150 versus 10 or 20 people paying 20 or 30 pounds, the amount of money that brings to the space per square meter is a lot more. So if you are thinking, of course, oh, but I can do one-on-ones, I can book my own clients, just look into how much you'll actually be making. So when I first went self-employed, I was working at a studio where it was, what's it called? Not profit share, but it's like a revenue share. So I had to bring in my own clients, and I would charge them £90 and then I would keep 28. Now, I don't think this particular studio owner was trying to take the piss. I just think that's what she needed to cover the studio per hour. So just look into how much it will actually cost you to either hire a studio or how much a studio is going to be taking, because one-on-ones, as rewarding as they are, when you do get those few clients that are so consistent and can afford it and show up every week without fail, it is far more inconsistent pay. A lot of the time you're expected to do your own marketing. And I would say, while there is money in it, people will pay. Generally speaking, this is a sort of word of mouth thing. So unless you've already got a network, maybe you're a physio already, or you've got a very close connection to a physio studio that's asking for it, then good for you, fantastic, you good to go. But if you are one of the rare few of us that just fall in love with Pilates, either because of some kind of injury or condition, or because you were associated with some sport, in my case dance, and you really value the control aspect and the stability that translates very well between your sport and Pilates. So in other words, if you're a super nerd and like to really discover your body, there are a minute fraction of us who will get obsessed with that, but that is not enough to pay your bills every month. There's not enough of us, I'm afraid. I'm really sad. I wish there were more. Now, maybe you're thinking about setting up your own comprehensive studio, in which case, yeah, you're going to need the fully comp certification. But in terms of money, maybe this is like a passion project that you want to do, go for it. This video isn't really going to help you that much because you're kind of already decided. But some of you, I could just open up my own studio. The Cadillac alone is starting at about £10,000. Start to add on your reformer for £2,000 to £3,000, plus your chair for another 500 to 1,000. Plus, of course, the space. Maybe you're really lucky and your parents have a garage that you can use. Perfect. I'm in London. That kind of space is just like not going to happen. It's going to cost me a lot of money per hour. And again, you've got all your marketing costs, blah, 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 blah. We won't repeat too much there. And we've already kind of touched upon if you are planning to work for other comprehensive studios. I have not seen in London group Cadillac classes. I have seen group chair, and I have seen, of course, like tower is actually on the rise right now. So the tower part of your comprehensive, your fully comp, is kind of handy to have these days. But you will get work with just a reformer, no problem whatsoever. I've seen like 10 different ads just the last, like in 2026 for studios in London recruiting. Now, of course, not many people know this, but you can actually certify fully comp over time. I don't know why this route isn't more popular. Maybe because it wasn't around until like quite recently. And I think it is to do with the rise of specifically reformer, that now a lot of people are wanting to do just reformer. They've kind of thought, oh, well, we might as well break it up into different pieces. So you can actually certify separately on your mat, your reformer, your chair, your Cadillac, and your ladder barrel. It doesn't actually work out massively more expensive, especially if you're already working in the industry as a reformer instructor and you're self-employed. Then any education to do with Pilates is going to be a deductible expense from your business. So it will reduce your tax bill. So rough average prices for each individual education. You've got your mat, which sits usually around 1,000 to 1,500. You've got your reformer that sits around 1,500 to 2,000. And then the tower and Cadillac sits at around £500 on its own. And then the same with the chair and the same with the ladder barrel. So let's say those three, 1,500 altogether. So let's do the maths just on my fingers. I'll put it probably on the screen somewhere. You've got 1,500 for the extra equipment, let's call it. You've got 2,000 for your reformer, so that's 3,500. So let's say 5K to do them all separately. Of course, if you're going to do it in 20 years, it probably will have gone up. But given that a fully comp cert is about £4,000, £1,000 spread out over 5 years or so isn't that big of a deal, especially if when you do actually get onto your ladder barrel, your chair, your tower, whatever it is, you are actually going to have far more points of contact and far more people to practice on. And it will actually be a little bit easier in terms of the learning and the accessibility. In terms of the time, that I can't promise. So these courses are often on the weekends, which are, for me, the weekends are my main work hours. So in terms of the time, that has been a struggle more. But you know what? I'm just being picky. I like routine. I hate having to do overtime on my days off to make up bills. I don't mind doing it. If I'm having a slow time, I'll do overtime, whatever. But feeling forced to take overtime on my days off, I really don't like. Now, schools that I know do everything separately, I think it's only Bazzi that don't do anything separately. So Bazzi, you just have to do reformer and all the equipment. You have to do fully comp. Polestar, I think you can do mat and reformer separately, but then everything else is bundled. You can't do separate chair, separate tower and Cadillac. And then Stott, I think you can do everything separately. I'm not sure about Cadillac, but for sure I've seen they have chair courses on the window chair. Club Pilates also, as far as I'm aware, don't break it up, but that's for a very separate reason that they're kind of trying to train you in their concepts just as much as they are the fully comp. And they are using all of the equipment in their classes. So for them, it kind of makes sense. But what are the other ones? So APPI, they definitely do everything separately. They've actually got quite a few fun courses. And then Balance Body, I do believe they do have a chair separately. Now, there is one more little route, little hack, if you want to call it, towards getting your comp certification. If you have been either educated or been working on equipment through mentoring, or maybe have some, like for example, if you've got a sports science degree or a dancer degree and have been working a lot on the equipment, even though you're not qualified in Pilates, you are educated on the body and movement and are a movement specialist, and you are confident that you know Pilates techniques, names of movements, how to modify, and common injuries, ailments, conditions that will show up in Pilates, you can take an exam from the National Certification of Pilates, NCPC, National Center for the Pilates Certification. I'm going to put it Irish, the exact name. It is essentially an online test. You pay $400 to take the test. If you pass, this is valid as a comprehensive education. If you fail it, you don't get the money back. It feels like Pilates is kind of in the name of the game with gambling. Then it is essentially just a leveling out test. It's just to test that the knowledge you've gotten wherever you've gotten it is actually on the same wavelength as what is expected in general in Pilates. Now we're going to talk about one more thing, which is if you are looking at a kind of broader career in fitness rather than Pilates, what is the difference? I consider fitness to be more centered in gyms and Pilates to be centered more in studios and one-on-ones. This is not to say that gyms don't have sort of quote unquote real Pilates, whatever that is. It is just more that they are less likely to be equipped with all the equipment. It is more likely to be very sort of hybrid people, i.e. people's main thing is something else. And then they're coming into Pilates to supplement rather than recover or focus on. Then unless you really want to for your own enrichment, there is no career need to be doing the fully comprehensive. I think Reformer is a fantastic supplement to any sport, as is mat Pilates, as is Tower, as is everything. But how thin can you spread yourself? This is a decision I myself had to make if I wanted to be in the fitness industry or if I wanted to be in the Pilates industry. I'm still very much kind of straddling that line, but generally I have kind of forked off towards just the Pilates. Yeah, you need to essentially, if you're in the fitness industry right now, you need to kind of make that choice. Again, I'll go back to the point of if you've got the time and the money, like just do it. Why not? Why wouldn't you if you've got the time? But if you're sort of saying, oh, do I need it? Do I actually need it to progress in my fitness career? You don't need it. What I'm going to do as well is I will link in the description all the different kind of broken up courses, because I feel that we can find quite easily the fully comp ones. They're quite well advertised, but there's less knowledge and information about the fact that you can do everything kind of broken up. So I will put links to different ones below. And don't forget, whatever you choose now, it doesn't necessarily box you forever. Even if you do your fully comp right now, you can still do those extra add-on courses later. Maybe you do your classical fully comp now, and then you want to look into doing just a dynamic reformer course, or maybe you want to go into some contemporary chair work. Like every different school is going to offer you something different, and you are going to have to participate in educations throughout your Pilates career. Yes, to update your knowledge, but it's also to stay in touch with the industry. Clients expected of you, other studios expected of you. And to be quite frank, it keeps you motivated. It keeps me motivated to keep going to educations, just to meet other people. Because in this career, you're not meeting your colleagues unless it's at educations or sort of quite forced scenarios like socials. Educations are essentially the equivalent of your after work drinks. I hope that helped. If it did, don't forget to subscribe. Also, feel free to contact me on Instagram with any questions. Your questions help me know what videos to make. So I always love hearing from you. I'll always reply. Oh my God, what a sneeze. Stitch just like, okay. If you are interested in knowing more about different educations, feel free to watch my previous video on that. And if you're not quite sure which type of instructor you want to be, don't forget to watch my video about becoming a Pilates instructor. See you for the next one. Peace out. Bye. Why did I do peace out? That was weird. Over and out. I got no service in the club. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. I'm kind of busy. Hang up. I'm going crazy.